You left the church. You closed that chapter. You stopped going. You stopped serving. You even stopped praying for a while. So why does your body still flinch when someone raises their voice in the name of God? Why do you freeze when someone in authority asks you to do something? Why do you feel guilty, like physically sick with guilt over things that have nothing to do with doctrine? You left, but your nervous system didn't get the memo. Before we get into that, I'm Renisha, and if nobody has checked on you today, that's exactly why I'm here. Today we're talking about something that nobody in ministry wants to talk about. How church hurt, spiritual abuse, and religious trauma don't just wound your faith, they rewire your nervous system. And if you have been trying to fix a nervous system problem with just spiritual discipline alone, more praying, more fasting, more surrender, and it's still not working, this video is going to tell you why. By the time we're done, you're going to understand exactly what happened to your body inside that church environment, why you're still triggered even though you logically know better, and what healing actually looks like in order for it to stick. Not a pep talk, not 5 steps, just absolute truth, baby. Stay to the end because I'm going to name some things that people never say out loud. And I just have this feeling that at least one of them is going to feel like I read your mail. Some definitions, because some people are walking around not even knowing what they're dealing with. And all that's going to do is slow down your healing process. So there's a difference between church hurt, spiritual abuse, and religious trauma. So when we talk about church hurt, that is relational, right? Someone betrayed you. They may have disappointed you. They may have talked about you, excluded you from something, and it hurt. It really hurt. But it was between people. You understand? So spiritual abuse is systematic. This is when spiritual authority, a pastor, a leader, a ministry in the church, was used to control, shame, isolate, or even exploit you. This is not just someone being messy or immature. This is power being weaponized in God's name. And that's a whole different type of beast. And religious trauma is what happens to your nervous system after repeated exposure to either one, especially when it was layered with the fear of hell, rejection from community, and that feeling that God's love was predicated on your performance or even your compliance. And I know some of you are sitting here right now saying, okay, what happened to me? Was it really abuse or am I just being dramatic? Let me answer that for you. If you felt like you couldn't say no, you couldn't ask questions, you couldn't leave without losing your entire world, your friends, your family, your community, your spiritual identity, that was not a healthy spiritual environment. Control dressed up in scripture is still control. I know it because I lived it, and I'm not about to let you minimize it the way they trained you to. Now, let me tell you what's happening in your actual body while you're going through all of this. Your nervous system has one job: keep you alive. That's it. It's not sophisticated. It's not theological. It does not care about your church membership card. When you were in an environment that was unpredictable, shaming, controlling, threatening, even in subtle ways, your nervous system went into survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, the one nobody talks about. This is when you become agreeable and accommodating and you shrink back and make yourself small just to avoid conflict. You just want to keep the peace. You're just trying to stay safe. And here's the part that changes everything. Your nervous system didn't learn that through understanding. It learned it through repetition. Every Sunday, every midweek service, every moment someone's tone of voice or phrase from the pulpit made your body go tight. Your nervous system filed a report. Threat, threat, threat. Baby, the way I used to get preached on in the pulpit is actually hilarious. It wasn't funny then. It's funny now. Like, I must have been a whole threat. A flower fell out of my flower wall thing. Y'all think it'd be cute like this? Ladies, I cannot with me. I need y'all to focus. So when you left, your mind knew you were out, but your body had filed like hundreds of reports. The body doesn't just forget it because you changed your address. That's why you can hear someone say, "The Lord told me," and your stomach drops immediately. That's why certain worship songs make you want to leave the room. That's why you feel guilty in your body over something that you cognitively know is not wrong. Your body learned danger in a spiritual place and is still running the program. That is not a faith problem. That's a nervous system problem that started in a faith place. Real quick, if this is already landing, drop a pink heart in the chat, not just for the algorithm, but because I want to know that you were here. I know I'm talking to somebody specific on today, and I want you to know I see you. So let me name some of the symptoms that religious trauma leaves in your body, because a lot of people are walking around with these and they don't even realize what's going on. Hypervigilance around authority. You are constantly scanning people in power to figure out if they are safe. You read tone obsessively. You brace for disappointment before it even comes. You struggle to trust leaders, pastors, and even God himself. And it's not even because your faith is weak. It's because your body learned that with authority comes unpredictability. Another symptom, you have these shame spirals that come out of nowhere. Not guilt over something specific you did. I'm talking about a free floating shame. A baseline sense that you are fundamentally wrong or bad. Here's what most people don't know. Shame is not just a belief. Shame can become a physiological collapse response. Your body actually shuts down in a shame response. That's not being dramatic. That is biology. Another symptom, people pleasing as a survival strategy. You learned that compliance kept you safe and agreeing kept you in. Questioning got you labeled, shut down, or quietly shunned. So your nervous system adopted a fawn response as protection. Now it runs automatically in relationships, even when you're actually safe, even with people who are not your old church. The pattern doesn't know that the threat is gone. Another symptom, body-based memory without a clear story. This one confuses people the most. You have panic, nausea, or shutdown in certain contexts, and you don't have a clean memory to attach to it. So you doubt yourself. You think you're just being irrational. You're not. Your body is remembering something that your mind hasn't been able to fully articulate. Baby, this is real. And it counts. And then there's one more. This is what I call moral injury. Most people think they're just dealing with hurt feelings, but many church hurt survivals are also grieving a betrayal of conscience. You were asked to believe, to do, to tolerate things that violated your internal sense of right and wrong in God's name. That's not just an emotional wound, y'all. That is a wound to your integrity, and your nervous system carries it long after you've walked away. Before we talk about healing, I need to say something for every person who is carrying shame about how long it took for them to leave. You didn't stay because you were stupid. You stayed because your nervous system was doing exactly what it was designed to do. You stayed because leaving meant losing your entire world, your family, your friends, even your sense of who you really were. Because baby, you were told for years that this place is your covering, your protection, your path to God. So leaving felt like spiritual suicide. Baby, you stayed because hope is powerful. You believed it would get better. You loved the parts that were good, and you tried to hold on to that through the parts that were not. You stayed because the fear of hell was real. The fear of being cut off was real. The fear of being labeled rebellious, bitter, unforgiving, and the fear of having that label follow you everywhere was real. They loved calling me rebellious. Staying was a survival strategy, not a character flaw. Stop beating yourself up. And leaving, however you did it, whenever you did it, was not the end of your faith. It may have been the beginning of the version of faith that can actually hold you. So what does healing actually look like? I'm going to give you the framework of the what and the why, because you deserve to understand the road before you put on your heels and start walking it, unless you're a man that's watching this. All right, first, somebody say first, healing has to include your body. You cannot think your way out of a nervous system pattern. You can't pray your way out either. And I say that as a woman of faith. The body learned through experience and repetition. It has to unlearn that same way through the body, through safety, through regulation, through learning what it actually feels like to exist out of survival mode. Second, healing has to address what you believe, not just what you experienced. Religious trauma doesn't just leave a wound. It leaves a belief system about God, about yourself, about whether you are safe or loved or worthy outside of performance. And some of you were used so bad in the church, your spiritual gifts. People didn't even care about you. They just wanted the gift. We see that a lot, especially with musicians and with prophets, but that's a whole nother. Those beliefs are running in the background of every relationship you have right now. And they need to be updated, not just spiritually, but at the level of your nervous system. Third, healing has to rebuild trust in your own internal experience. Spiritual abuse often trains you to not trust yourself. Oh, I know I'm talking right. You don't trust your discernment, your gut, your questions, your doubts. Part of your healing is coming back to yourself. You heard me talking about coming home to yourself, learning that what your body is telling you is not rebellion. Your instincts are not the enemy, and God and your autonomy are not in conflict. Now, how do you do that work? The specific practices, the belief audit process, the somatic tools, the step-by-step work. That's what I teach in my paid resources. Insight is free. Integration is paid. And you deserve a real container for this, not just a list of things to Google at midnight by yourself. If your body learned fear in church, your healing has to include your body. Here's what I want you to do right now. If you are brand new to this conversation, if this is the first time that anyone has ever given language for what you have been carrying, I have a free audio experience called It's Not Your Faith, It's Your Nervous System. The link is in the description. It's where we start, and it's going to meet you exactly where you are. Now, if you are past the starting point, if you have done the spiritual work and your body still hasn't caught up yet, you need my clarity reset. It is a 7-day immersive experience that walks you through the belief work, the nervous system regulation, and the self-rebuild. Not a workbook that you just fill out and forget. A real reset. It's $197 and the link is in the description. Honey, I need you to listen at me. You were not built to just survive your faith. You were built to live in it freely, safely, fully. The healing is possible, and it starts with understanding what actually happened. Thank you for joining me today. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Hit the like button, please and thank you. And I will see you in the next video.